There's a particular kind of unease that doesn't come with a clear cause. Nothing has gone wrong, no one is upset with you, your work is handled, the day is quiet. But instead of feeling relief, you feel a subtle dread, like you're waiting for something to break. It's not a full panic, it's quieter than that. It's the sense that you should be scanning for the next problem, even though one hasn't arrived yet. The stillness itself feels suspicious, as if peace is just a pause between disasters. If that feeling is familiar, you've probably already tried to explain it to yourself in ways that don't quite fit. You've called it overthinking, being too negative. Maybe you've told yourself you just don't know how to relax, that other people move through calm moments without searching them for danger, while you seem unable to leave well enough alone. Those labels feel true enough to stick, but they never actually help. They just add a second layer of judgment on top of the first feeling. Now you're not only uneasy, you're also frustrated with yourself for being uneasy. That's a dead end, and staying there only deepens the exhaustion. What's actually happening isn't a personality flaw. It's an automatic process. Your brain's threat detection system doesn't wait for evidence of danger to activate. It treats uncertainty the same way it treats a threat. When things are calm, there's no signal of immediate danger. But there's also no signal of guaranteed safety. And to a brain designed to prioritize survival, that silence doesn't read as proof that everything is fine. It reads as a gap, a lack of information that needs to be filled. So it stops scanning. It searches through your relationships, your health, your work, your future, looking for something that could become a threat. And if it doesn't find one, it will construct a plausible one. Not because you want to suffer, but because your brain is more comfortable with a known worry than with an unknown stillness. And once the scan completes, something surprising happens. You get a brief moment of relief. You've mentally rehearsed what could go wrong, and for a few seconds that feels like preparation. Your mind whispers, "At least I've thought about it, at least I'm ready." That feeling is seductive. It lingers just long enough to feel like control. It convinces you that worrying is a form of protection, that running through every catastrophe in advance is the same as preventing it. So the next time calm arrives, you go looking for the next thing to worry about. Not because you want to, because that short burst of false readiness felt better than simply tolerating the quiet. Here's where this stops being abstract. It's a Sunday afternoon. The apartment is clean. Your to-do list is done. No email to answer, no call to return, no crisis unfolding. For about 30 seconds, it's peaceful. Then, your chest tightens slightly. Your breath gets shallower. That text your partner sent earlier. It was fine, but was it warm enough? That work project you submitted on Friday. You haven't heard back, which could mean it was fine, or could mean there's a problem waiting for Monday. That slight headache you've had on and off? Probably nothing, but what if it's something? Without realizing it, you've spent 20 minutes inside a catastrophe that doesn't exist. The afternoon is still quiet, the sun is still coming through the window. Nothing has changed, except that you're no longer here. You're emotionally bracing for a conversation that isn't happening, a criticism that hasn't arrived, a diagnosis no doctor has given you. This is what the cycle costs. Not just the minutes it steals, but what it steals the minutes from. The partner sitting next to you, who you're not actually present with because you're auditing their mood. The meal you don't taste because you're mentally running tomorrow's meeting. The genuinely good news you can't fully celebrate because some part of you is already calculating when the other shoe will drop. You've been living in low-grade vigilance for so long, it feels like responsibility. But it isn't. It's exhaustion disguised as responsibility. You're paying interest on a debt you might never owe. This is where many people land in shame. They look at this cycle and decide they're broken. But what you're actually looking at is a system that was trained, often over years, to stay on high alert. If you've been through periods where things really did go wrong without warning, where you had to anticipate other people's moods just to stay safe, your brain learned that vigilance was necessary. It got good at it. It refined the skill of finding threats before they found you. The problem isn't that this system is defective. The problem is that it's still running in an environment that no longer requires it. You're wired for a war that's already over. That's not a character flaw. That's a calibration issue. And here's what's painful to sit with. That feeling of being prepared, the one your worry gives you, is not real protection. Worrying about something hasn't stopped it from happening. It hasn't changed any outcome. What it has done is make you pay the emotional cost of a problem that hasn't arrived, and may never arrive. You've been prepaying a debt you don't owe, every single day. The mental rehearsal doesn't prevent the crisis. It just exhausts you before anything even happens. When you look at it clearly, you start to see that the behavior you thought was keeping you safe has actually been the thing keeping you tense, distracted, and unable to experience the very safety you've already earned. The worrying wasn't the shield, it was the weight. This realization stings, but it also opens something, because once you can see the pattern, you're no longer completely inside it. The next time you notice that familiar unease creeping into a quiet moment, you don't have to fight it or fix it. You don't have to talk yourself out of it, or convince yourself everything will be fine. You can just observe what's happening. Notice the scanning itself. Say to yourself quietly, "There it is. That's the old vigilance system booting up. That's my brain trying to solve a problem that hasn't happened yet." At first, this feels strange. The urge to follow the worry, to complete the scan, to get that small hit of false readiness, it doesn't disappear. It pulls at you. But you learn that you don't have to obey it. You can sit in the quiet and let the motion sensor light click on in an empty room. The light is still firing. The mechanism is still doing what it was trained to do. But you're not an intruder in your own life anymore. You're just watching it happen. And slowly, the room gets quieter. You're not bracing, you're not scanning, you're just here. And it turns out, that's enough. If this is the kind of quiet recognition you want to keep finding, subscribe. There's more of it here whenever you need it.